And so again, welcome. This is Sandra Hess, DTC Wine Workshops. Really excited to chat with you both today. Terry Hegarty from WineDirect Outbound and David Crum, the Loyalty Marketing Manager with Duckhorn. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Excellent. So what we want to talk about today in our video case study series around DTC wine sales is customer care. And I know we've chatted in the past about really what it takes to stay connected in between visits. So let's open up a little bit, David, on your end with what prompted you to look for additional help in serving your customers in between visits?
Yeah, so for us, it was really looking at our growth as far as our loyalty programs and our wine clubs, and just our visitation in general, and the need to get in front of that relationship early on. So, we have a team here at the winery. Of course, we have a wonderful hospitality team. We have a wonderful customer service team. But in order to create those relationships off the bat in a timely manner, we realized that we were at the point where it was important for us to expand that team, and so we started looking at possible solutions and using our software that we have, Vin65. It was a no-brainer to work with Terry. We had previous relationship with Terry as well. He knew our brands. We felt comfortable starting that conversation with him.
Excellent. So Terry, General Manager of WineDirect Outbound Services. Can you tell me a little bit about how you initiated your engagement with David and how you, began the process in supporting them with some outbound services?
The first thing, and sort of the above and beyond the relationship that we have with our sister company, Vin65, the first thing for our representatives, especially when dealing with a brand as premium as Duckhorn Wine Company, is to make sure that they are completely familiar with the portfolio of wines, with the culture, and with the way the winery communicates. So the first step was sort of after my conversations with the winery was to get the reps there, to get them to meet the existing customer service team, to allow them to have a hospitality experience at the wineries, to have a tasting experience, so they could really share common ground with not only the team at Duckhorn Wine Company, but with the loyal fans that they'd be talking to about the wine. And that really is a key step in our process.
Mm-hmm. I can understand that. I mean, when we talk with wineries and support wineries throughout the nation, one of the biggest questions that we get is around the number of customer touch points. What is the proper mix of touch points in between visits? How many emails, phone calls, direct mail pieces should be sent out from the winery? So with that said, it seems like there's a fine line between, telemarketing services and really customer support services or outbound services. So can you tell me a little bit, David, about your expectations then when you set out to work with Terry and his team? What was the expectation of that team as an extension of Duckhorn, and then how were you measuring success?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, we kind of look at it as customer success, and it's really, getting in front of that relationship, making sure that, in this business, it is so emotional. There is an emotional connection to our brands with our customers. They're seeking us out in a very busy, noisy market. And so when they choose us, we want to nurture that relationship early on, and then and understand the customer. So there's a lot of vehicles to do that, and we feel strongly that getting the relationship off on the right foot in person with a voice over the phone, that's vital. And you can learn so much just with a 10-minute conversation with your newest wine club members or the folks that just visited your tasting room last week. You can gather a lot more information that way than click and submit. So that's how we approach it, and getting in front of any sort of customer questions or just following up. There's a lot of stock in that. So.
Mm-hmm. So Terry, when it comes then to the documentation process through Vin65 and how that carries over from the Duckhorn team to the WineDirect outbound services team, what kind of information are you looking for typically?
So just to sort of give a little bit of explanation behind that, we're working in the same CRM. We're both in Vin65 in real time and all the time. It's one of our big differentiators is that Duckhorn can see everything we do as we do it, from call dispositions to just customer notes about the relationship this person has with the winery. But we can see everything in that customer's history as well. So past purchasing, when they last visited, what that experience was like, any sort of note like that. And this is a very sort of labor-intensive method of customer contact. It's fairly easy to send out thousands of emails. You want to make thousands of phone calls, it's going to take a few more man hours, which is why we need that Vin65 connection in place. We need to be able to qualify the customers to ensure that phone is the most effective way to reach them and speak with them. And then when we do get them on the line, we need to know their backstory. It's as important as the winery, our sales representatives knowing the winery's backstory as it is knowing this customer's individual story and individual connection with the brand. Because at the very least, we want to be as seamless as possible with everything Duckhorn does, and you need to know what's going on as it happens to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So with a winery like Duckhorn, we'll work together to build a sort of an annual plan, what we're going to do for different segments and different subsets of customers. But, the best laid plans of mice and men, as you start contacting the customers, as inventory levels change, as a new release comes out that maybe comes out earlier, comes out later, you tailor your approach to what's available, what can be talked about right now, and most importantly, what the customer is comfortable with. One of the great benefits of having a one-on-one conversation with your customer is that they'll let you know if they're uncomfortable about something, if they prefer something else, if they want to set out an appointment, if they want to hear about a wine the moment it releases, they'll let you know. Because once they're having that dialogue, information flows freely. They're not taking a survey online. It's less effort for them than sending an email requesting something. They're having a conversation with a human being who shares a love of a brand, and there's a connection there. We document that thoroughly and then act upon it and tailor our approach based on both customer segment and individual customer needs.
Excellent. And so Vin65 obviously is offering that complete visibility to the Duckhorn management team, customer care team. So at any given time, if they do have that repeat visitor stopping back by, they know the latest conversation that your team has had and everybody's up to speed. So really creating that family experience there at Duckhorn. So David, this question is going to go back over to you. It's been about 8 months or so that you and Terry have been working together to improve customer care in between visits. So let's talk about ROI in terms of what does this mean to your customers? What kind of feedback have you been getting from your customers and long-term members?
Yeah, and that's really the important thing. Where we're at now is, our relationships evolved. Looking back at, what's worked, what we need to tweak a little bit, and kind of to go to what Terry was just saying. What we're getting, the feedback. We're getting customer emails, people praising our team, our extension, our team at WineDirect Outbound, and then, really in the numbers as well. The average order value is really healthy, really happy with that. And, really that is a product of us proactively reaching out to customers. Say we find 10, 15 cases of a wine in the corner of the warehouse. And, instead of putting a sign out in front of the winery that says case today, where anybody off the street could come in and stock up on that, we're going to the right people with that opportunity and giving them, premier access, and so the proof is there. We've really enjoyed working with the extension of our team. They've done a wonderful job for us, And really, it's about getting our most special wines in the hands of those that deserve it the most, and that's the results that we've seen when we get the feedback from that longtime customer who we just haven't talked to in a few years, and all of a sudden they're back in the fold, back into the relationship with Duckhorn. Really, that's the ROI, and that's what we're seeing, and the success that we're seeing. So we're very happy.
Great. And as we begin to wrap up in our conversation here today, a couple of questions I have for you, David, when it comes to surveys. So we talk about customer touch points, and a lot of times wineries will ask us, well, should we start with a survey to really understand what our customers are wanting from us? Can you give me your insights around customer surveys?
Sure, and I touched on it a little bit earlier. That is a very meaningful method. We all get them in our inbox, SurveyMonkey, or click here to take a quick survey. And I think it's pretty common knowledge that you don't get the sort of response that you necessarily want. And when you do, if you're asking your customer what kind of benefits do you want to see, of course you're going to get the answer of deeper discounts, or more tastings for free, or what have you. So for us, it's really about having that one-on-one conversation, continuing that conversation, getting feedback on what wines you like, what wines, what were our hits and misses, and get in front of any customer service or customer success, opportunities. And it's a personal business. There's a lot of emotion when it comes to wine and brands, and the customer brand relationship. So we've taken the approach of definitely there's things that we can survey our wine club members on, as far as like an event. What did you like most? What did you like least? Was the food good? That sort of thing, so that we can tinker those sorts of things. But when it comes to what we're offering and that sort of thing, it is really it comes down to the conversation and keeping that going.
Terry's team being able to really gather real-time feedback and real-time survey information obviously is a big benefit to the winery. Terry, this question is back over to you. Get some words of wisdom. So we've talked about, what the process looks like, and starting to get things set up for the client and build some success over time, build relationships with the customer base. What would you recommend for any winery wanting to get started with outbound services from WineDirect?
Well, with not just limiting it to WineDirect outbound, though obviously that would be my preference. When you look at using any third-party provider, especially when it comes to contact with your customers, be very, very careful. This relationship is built on a strong foundation of trust, and the way we develop that trust is by establishing complete visibility into everything we do, and that's something I think is important to look for. There's no such thing as a black box. Give me a goal, give me some wines, give me your customers, and I'll go get it for you. That's a very irresponsible way to deal with one of the most important assets a winery has, their customer list and their club members. So it's incredibly important to be able to see what's happening as it happens. With modern technology, with a good CRM, and with a good communication flow between sort of client and agent, you can get real-time visibility into everything that's happening. And I think that's essential. When you have that and you can see what's happening with sort of no man behind the curtain, you know exactly what the conversations are, then you can begin to use that information to be more effective in your outreach. And you can also nip something in the bud if there's something that you don't like. They're your customers. To the wineries out there, they're your customers, just like they're your wines. You're bringing in a third-party vendor to help you. Don't hand over the keys to the car without knowing exactly where it's going. So I think visibility is very important there. If you have that, the sales, the customer care, the customer conversations will all come organically. Because if it's done right, it's a very successful conduit. Wine going out and information coming in. but you need to be able to see how it's being done so that you can establish that trust with your vendor.
Sure. So, to me, this is the ideal blend of technology and process, really mirroring, the proper steps when it comes to customer care, customer touch points, but also making sure that within your Vin65 CRM system, that same process is being mirrored. And so really exciting to hear that you're using both to the fullest. And so thank you for that input and insight there, Terry. And David, this is for you. Do you have a golden rule when it comes to direct-to-consumer outreach? And if so, how do you apply that?
Yeah, and in this particular case, to go back to something Terry just said, you don't hand the keys over the car without doing a test drive and having somebody who's an expert maybe sitting next to you to show you where reverse is or where second gear is. So, really the golden rule for us in this is building the long-term relationships with our customers. And in this particular relationship, in this partnership, it really is important to put all your chips into the table. So, I have daily conversations with Terry when we're at our peak, outreach, capacity. When we're moving, on some phone calls to update customers on, releases or whatnot. We're in constant contact every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. So you need to invest that. You need to invest yourself. You need to invest your team. And then when it comes to your list, you do have to build those blocks from the very beginning, from the very beginning of the foundation of your relationship on educating the team that is representing your brand. So they really do need to be present at the winery, really understand the ins and outs and everything of how you do business. So that's kind of our golden rule, and with our partnership with WineDirect Outbound.
Great. So in conclusion, I've learned today that when using teleservices, the teleservices team really needs to be a true extension of the winery team from a customer care perspective. Absolutely. I've also learned that it's important to provide full visibility, real-time visibility into CRM on both sides so that there's clear and consistent communication to better support customers. And David, as you mentioned, to just go all in, put all your chips on the table and truly partner with that teleservices group to ensure that your customers are happy and that true brand story is being reflected through every point of contact. Excellent. I really appreciate your time today, Terry Hegarty, General Manager again of WineDirect Outbound Services, David Crum, Loyalty Marketing Manager at Duckhorn. Thank you so much for this informative conversation, and best to you all.
Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.